Okay, starting switch and go number 3 today with the body build. Got my steel in. Cross members were already cut to length when delivered. So I got to cut my long rails here, my 4-inch channel for the overall length, and I'm actually going to build this upside down first. And then I'll flip it over and put the decking and the rest of it on. So I'm going to start with the bottom. We're going to get the main frame done. We'll get everything, cross members together, get the end plates on with the stake pockets, get the winch plate put in, rollers in the back, and then we'll flip it over. And then I'll get the sheet put on, I'll get the bulkhead built, and we'll go from there. So I'm guessing this could take me 3 days, and we'll see from there, at least getting it fabbed. So let's get started. Okay, little mid-afternoon update here. Just kind of getting started, going slow here. I got all my channels ready to go in place. I got my long rail installed. I got that all measured up. In the front here, I think this is an important measurement. 5.5 inches from your first cross member to the front. This will allow you to have your room for your wonky angle here that's going to come off. I got these all cut here. These are they're continuing the frame rails. So you want to have at least 5.5 inches to the front, and then I left an inch or 2.5 inches in the back because I'm going to do a piece of flat stock with these pockets, stake pockets. I ordered these on Amazon. They were like $3 a piece. It's not even worth trying to outfit my own or take a piece of channel and cut it and grind it. It's just easier to buy those, slap it right in there. I got D-hooks too. So we're going to get this main structure done, and then I can flip it over and be able to put the sheeting on and the deck and all that stuff. But we're going to get the main frame done, all the cross members in place, the end caps on, the rollers on, the ladder on, the hitch plate in the front, and then we'll flip it over when we're all done. So let's get going. Okay, day one of the build in the books. Not even a full day. I had some other stuff to wrap up this morning, so I got a late start. So we're probably about 4 hours in. Most of the underneath is done. This would be done if I didn't do a bunch of special stuff first. Like putting the stake pockets in. I got those in place already. So what I did was, we like to clip our tailgates on the side of the truck because we just use wooden ones. So I actually put stake pockets that match the size over here on the side, so then you can clip your tailgate in and drive around. So this side's all done. And then we're also going to put a wooden bumper on. So I put some nuts on the back side, wanted those in place, so those are good. And then I can just run my screws in and tighten up the wood when I get there. Back wheels are on. And then I started working on this side here, getting the flat stock in place. I just laid out where the pockets are going to go on this side. I didn't do double pockets on this side because I didn't need to. See, I got 3 over there. 1, 2, 3. Just 2. So the next step will be getting a plate mounted here, cutting the front hole out, getting my 1-inch bar connected for the winch hookup. I got to put a body lock on here. I have to put the ladder on here on that side, so when it flips over, it's on the passenger side. And then after that, I think we're ready to flip it, and I'll start using this channel here, start building my frame up like this for the hoist to roll up on, and we'll be looking good. So I'm happy with the progress so far. It's moving right along, and we'll be getting this done. So let's keep at it, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. Okay, day 2 on the flatbed project. Well, not really a full day. I had to plow this morning, so I only got a good probably 3 hours into this between my break I took and whatnot. I've been at work for almost 12 hours now, but I feel fine, so I don't really care. Today's progress, I got the side plate on here, got the ladder on, and then the front hitch plate up here is on. This is where the winch is going to pull. It's upside down right now, so there'll be a cutout in this front piece of channel, and then a 1-inch metal rod will go through it, and you can hook your winch onto it. Instead of it just pulling on one piece of channel, it pulls on 2. That's the way they design them. So that's the bottom of it. I'll have got to get that all cleaned up. That other piece there is just a scrap. So the underneath of this thing is done. Oh, I also put my body locks on here. There's one on each side. Those, I have those at 90 inches from the front edge here, 90 inches back, and they're about 4 inches wide. So the front edge here, this leading edge right here, is 90 inches. It's centered in the 4-inch channel, and I did go out and measure the truck to make sure that it wasn't too wide where it would hit the hook early. So I put it at 4 inches, and they're 4x5s, and there's one on that side too. So ladder's done. This year I kind of had to trim it out a little bit. You can see I put these tubes in there. It sits on a cross member because the ladder's wider than the cross member, so I slapped the tube in there, leave a little opening to let stuff drain out, and also big enough to get a little oil gun in there and put oil inside those so they don't rust out from the inside out. So that's on upside down. These rollers are on. Stake pockets are all done. All the seams are somewhat fully welded. I'm going to flip it over and weld the rest of these C-channels from the other direction, so I have a fully welded seam. I only do that for rust, keep the rust out of it. Better paint job. I also got these end caps done. Those are kind of ugly, but who cares? They're better than a piece of channel iron sticking down. So that's going to wrap up today's project. The next step is to flip this thing over and then start working on the bulkhead up front, getting that thing going. The back's done completely. It's going to be a lot of work up at the bulkhead now, getting that wonky angle, getting that all framed in, getting my expanded metal on, and then getting my sheet steel on. So this is what I got left for steel, plus I got 4 sheets. I got 4 sheets of steel, and then I got a sheet of expanded metal, kind of. But I got a whole 20-foot stick of 4-inch channel, and I got a 20-foot stick of 3-inch channel. And then I got some tube and stuff like that. Tube comes in a 24-foot stick, so I had to buy a full stick of it. So we'll use it for something, I'm sure, eventually. But moving along. Okay, so you can see there's a couple different angles here that we got to figure out. I got to get some better lighting here. Let's take a look-see. All right, so we got some weird angle cuts. You know, the front of that long rail there has got a weird cut to it. And then there's also a weird cut up here. That one's just level up there. So what I have here is this tool. I bought it at the Home Depot. I don't even know what it's called. It's for doing angles like this, where I can basically open it up. I can open it up and kind of make whatever angle I want, and it'll give me like a degree. So I'm going to measure all this stuff and figure out what angles are what, and we'll go from there. Okay, so one thing to know about doing any sort of math like this is a couple things. In this case, since we're doing a straight line and we're doing some angles, a straight line like this equals 180 degrees. This is just a little math lesson, right? So this right here is 180 degrees. If it was a full circle, it'd be 360. So what we can try to do here is find the opening of this angle here and then this angle here, and those two numbers should add up to 180. So this could be 135, and then this would be whatever the other math is there. I'm not very good at it. We'll figure that out. The same thing up here. This angle here would equal 180, and we're going to find the opening of it, and it'll flip-flop back to the other side to figure out that angle here. So 180 degrees is this angle right here, and we're trying to find out what this line is. So let's get our little tool out here. This measures degrees, and I can also bend this to form whatever I need. So I want to figure out what the angle, oops, this camera is bouncing around. I want to figure out what this angle is right here. So I'm going to bring my tool out, we'll trace it up. Okay, 55.2. So let's bring up here. I'll show you what I measured there. 55.2 on that side. So we'll do some quick math real quick, just to be sure. We'll do 180 degrees minus 55, just to keep it even. That's 125 degrees. That means the other side of this should be 125. This angle right here, 125. Got it? So, we got that right there. We're still at that. We can flip this, I think, reverse it, 125. Okay. So that's that angle first. Now that we know that, we can start to measure some of the other stuff. But we know we want this angle here, so when I go to put my next piece up, I can put this up in place. I can put my piece of channel here and make sure I measure out 125 degrees, which is actually what this angle is. I had it reversed because we measured the other side of it. So this side of the angle here is 55 degrees. I can just simply reverse it on this 55, 54 now. It's moved a little bit, but I think you get the point. Okay, the next thing that we're going to measure is we actually got to find out what this angle is right here to figure out what we got going on. So it should still be the same 155, right? Which it is. So in that case, depending on how this is put back up, this would be 125, so it would be about 55 on that. And yeah, okay, I think that might probably still work. 55. Here's the pieces of channel that I kind of just drew on to give me an idea of where these marks are supposed to go. But here's my tool here. I got it set to 55 degrees, and I'm going to mark it out now on this channel, right to the corner, so I utilize the most piece. But see how that was pretty close? Figured out. So that right there will be taken off. Let me show you what it looks like on the truck here. That's kind of hard to tell. Right, that one that's cut. It's level right in that area. That's what we're looking for. So I'm going to mark the other side, and we'll go from there. Alright, I got the first part of this bulkhead started. I just slapped a 2-inch flat stock in here and welded it in place to keep the spacing consistent from bottom to top. Make sure we got that 35 inches on the inside that we need. It measures. And then I was able to kind of shift stuff around so we had it consistent and square, and then measured it square on each end on the diagonals to make sure it was right. So I also got the hole cut out for the winch plate. That'll be coming on once the sheet's up. So the next step now is to get this top part figured out. I got to put another piece of flat in here to square it, but that's what I would recommend. Okay, back at the end of the day now. I got this bulkhead all framed up. What a nightmare. This is always the worst part, I swear. I've done a few of these, and this is just the biggest pain, is getting these bulkheads squared up and everything. You can see I had some screw-up cuts and stuff like that. So what I would recommend almost, and maybe I'll do this next time, is to build these on the bench, make a nice jig up, build them on the bench, and then get them up in one piece. Because I had to make sure this was square to this, and then this was square to this, and that was it to there, everywhere. You might be better off just building them all on the bench first, and then just worrying about getting the whole stick square, versus dealing with this fiasco of trying to build each piece. So I've got my little tool here. Just want to show you what my angles were, so you can match them on yours. So this angle right here, oh, turned off. Hang on. Let me re-zero it. This angle right here, 35.8 degrees, 36 degrees or so. This first back angle cut is 106 degrees. Those are terrible filming, but this back angle cut here, this is really tough to do with one hand, is about 67 degrees, it looks like. That right there, 67. That up there is just a straight cut. I mean, I think we talked about this one earlier, right? If I can even get it. And that right there, 155, I believe that says. Let's hold it and see what it does. 55 on that one. So that's the inside of this angle is 55 degrees, which gets you your cut, and then this down here gets you your other angle. So that's that. I had to do that for every one of these. It was kind of a pain, but like I said, and then you got to make sure that these line up on the same plane too, which is tough because they come starting from different positions. You don't have I guess you could put a piece of 4-inch channel underneath this and build a frame. Then you could have all three of the same pieces, which might be easier. I didn't have that and do that. But what I would probably do next time is get the measurements all figured out and just build them on a bench, make them all perfect, and then basically get them in place, prop them up, and get them lined up how you want it. Versus what I did, tried to build them in place, which is tough. And then I got a piece of C-channel across the top upside down. I might upgrade that to a tube next time, a 4-inch tube, because you got to deal with notching it out or flip it upside down, and it would kind of sit like this, which would be easier to fasten together, but then water would sit up there. So I don't know. I mean, you could do that and make it easier, or put a tube up there or something like that, or notch it out like this. But you just gotta, what'll happen is if you notch it out with the two center ones in, it'll stay nice and straight, but then the wings will kind of fold down, so you have to make sure, though, you push those back up. I used the bottle jack and got it all level again, and then welded it in place. So this is always the hardest part, and it's now done, which is good. I also went through and finished welding all these seams here. Welded the seams up in there, real nice. And I cut out the hole for the winch plate. So I got to get a piece of round bar to go in there. I'm probably going to bring a piece of sheet in the morning. I'm thinking maybe bring the front piece of sheet in, get that in place, get it cut. I got 2 stake pockets to cut out for on either side. I can get that place intact, and then I can measure for my round bar because it's going to connect. And then I got to cut the holes out for these nose rollers too and weld those in place. So that's going to take a while. Once that's done, I'm cutting more stuff, I guess. Thinking about cutting this off here, making it just kind of. So I got some cutting, probably another half a day working on getting this bulkhead in place. And then after that, it's going to be sheet. I got a 15-inch sheet going here, and then the rest of the way up is expanded metal, or it's not quite expanded, it's the flat stuff, expanded metal. It's not called expanded metal, it's called something else. So making progress. This is day, I guess, 2.5, because I did a full day. Not even, this is day really 2 that I spent all day working on it. So 2 days, mostly fabbed up. Should be close to being done by 3 to 4 days, one guy. So yeah, we're moving along. Okay, nose rollers. 3 pieces. Channel. This goes up like this. Flush with that up top and our tray. Then these fittings out. Those are for the sequel, for the cab.
What do I need?
3/4.
What is it?
3/4.
And for the cab to...
It's on the inside. This grease pen, roller pin. That is 15. This piece. This piece. Slides over and up. Squares it up. And same thing on this side. This will go slide over like that. Okay, mid-morning update. Got the sheet steel inside. I'm working on fitting it to my deck. I got a helper today, which is doing very good. He's doing all the grinding of all the seams here, cleaning all that up. Got the nose rollers installed. Those are pretty easy. They roll. All right, so that's done. And then right now we're working on cutting this round on both sides, and then we got to get a filler for that. I cut this one right here round. So we got to clean all this up still, nice and round. And then this is what I'm doing for fitting stake pockets. I got cutting that out, just laying them right in place, measuring out where they are, and slicing them. So I'm marking that side right now. I'll have that one cut. Then I'll have to cut the sheet short, and we'll be in good shape. So we're moving right along. Should have this decking fit today. Then I'll be putting decking on the bulkhead and the mesh, and we'll be good. All right, it's the evening now. It's about 6 o'clock. I'm just wrapping up the day. Worked pretty much all day steadily on this. I had a helper today with the grinding. Got all the sheet fitted and welded, with the exception of the center seams. Here, I got to go back and weld all these. I got to get them lined up. They're a little off, so I'm going to tweak that, get that perfect. Got the metal cut for the bulkhead mesh. I got another seam underneath this. You can kind of see it in that. That's got to go up. I got this front little bulkhead on, all welded up. It needs to be ground down and cleaned. I really did get a lot done today. Nose rollers are done. Hook plates done. Net nose rollers done. All these are nice and smooth, so the body will roll on them really nice. On all sides, all cleaned up, so paint will stick to it better. end caps are filled in. So pretty much we got a lot of grinding to do. So when I set all this, what I actually did was, you can't even see it cutting here, I left my sheet steel just a little bit short so they weren't a butt. It was they had like a little angle that needed to be filled, and I was able to fill that with the welder. And when I did that, it created a nice smooth edge that they can come by and just clean up. So this is what it looks like before. It's all plasma cut stuff on top. And then this is what they got after. Smooth. Now the whole point of this takes a lot of time to get this thing really smooth using a flap disc and whatever. But the purpose is that the smoother this surface is, the better the paint's gonna penetrate, and that means the paint's gonna stick better. So that's the whole purpose behind that. So the next thing is I gotta get this screen up in place on the back, and then I gotta put the D-rings on. I gotta fully weld the seams across after I get everything lined up. And then we got the tool rack to build, the D-rings, and then we're done with the bed itself. Then we gotta fab up the wooden sideboards, which we kind of started that already here. I got all my channels cut to build those, and we got a big old stack of lumber over here to put it together. So moving right along, I would say in the next day all the welding will be done, everything will be fabbed up and ready for final cleaning and paint. So like one more day of welding and it'll be done. This is day. Okay, next day now, jumping into the project. I'm trying to wrap this up, get all the fab work done so we can get all the grinding done on another time. Working on installing this mesh here. I just wanted to give you a few tips and tricks if you're going to do this yourself. So this piece I put in, obviously you can see the bend in it. It doesn't like to line up. See, this is like out like this right here. So what you got to do is, I got some straps on the front of this thing here, which helped but didn't really solve the problem. I don't know if you can see it's warped or not. But right there, there's a big gap right there. So in order to get it to line up like this, what you got to do is, one, I pulled it tight to the centerpiece, but then just go through with a hammer right along this edge here where these would connect, start to beat this into place, and that'll pop that out. So my next step is going to be going down to the one center cross beam. I'm going to put my move my strap over to here, pull it tight into this corner, and then I'm going to go through with a hammer and basically on the other side hit this back, because right now it's really rounded and I'm trying to make it come down like that. Beat that into place and it'll end up pulling this lip back up. So that's what we're working on. And then I got the tool rack to do, which isn't too hard. I got to cut some holes in the mesh, send some angle iron through, weld it in place, and we're done with that. And then after that we have the D-rings, and then I got to go up underneath this thing and I got to line these sheets up with each other. Got a little bit of a low spot here. Line all these sheets up, weld it. I'm going to go across the bottom, stitch it from the bottom so it doesn't bounce on the channel, weld the full seams up, and then it's ready for grinding. Okay, it's Friday, about 2:30 in the afternoon, and this bed is done with welding. All ready for paint and, well, grinding at this point. So we went over that yesterday. You can see I got my D-rings on. I put them on a little plate. Ryan did some welding. He did what he had to do. It worked okay. He's learning, people. Don't get mad. He welded all this stuff across. So update from yesterday, I got the screen in. That was kind of a pain. No, I talked about that this morning, actually. I got my arms set for the 2x8s to go in for the tool rack. I got my holdbacks done for the sideboard. So when you put the sideboard in, it'll bop between this piece up here, actually this piece down here. It'll bop between these two. You'll saddle them kind of, and it won't bounce around as much because the holes are a little bit big. Got that all welded. We saw this all yesterday. Nothing really too crazy. And that is done. So we'll be back next week. They're going to do some grinding and cleaning. Get this thing all ready to go for paint. I also went up underneath and did some stitching underneath there just to keep the steel deck attached to it no matter where it is. Kind of underneath it was nice up on the lift. So I'm happy. So all is well. So we'll move on to paint next week.